Hello, you amazing friends, ladies and gentlemen across the world. Welcome to the Boss Ladies Summit. This is your man on a Women's Empowerment Summit, Edwards here, and we've got Alison Gibbs with us today. Ali Gibbs, how are you doing today? Ali, what's going on?
I am doing really awesome, Ed, and I like it when it starts off with a really small group because
Oh,
you
totally,
know,
totally. Now we've got Ali with us. Ali is dealing with
it's nice
some
and
internet trouble, but we're not too worried about
gets it
that
off
because we're
really
going to
good
get as
on
much. Oh, there
highlights.
you are. Love it. Love it. We love you, Ali. Poor Ali is with us. She's
Am I
got a bit of
back
internet
again?
trouble,
Oh, did
but
I
we
disappear?
don't care. Oh no, but we don't care. The show must go on. But great to see you, Ali. Now today's topic is building a powerful community like a boss. It's not just about business networking. It's about building the people around you and the people in your life. And it's great to have you with us. And I was just joking before with Ali. So I've done whole boss lady summits with me back in the day. So you've got me mansplaining to you amazing ladies. But today we've got Ali with us. Ali, tell us what you think about business networking and building your own powerful business community. Tell us all your thoughts, Ali. Oh no, we already lost Ali. Ali's been taken out by sexist internet run by men. I think we've lost Ali. Oh no, we got you now, Ali. We're having a wonky time again. Tell us what you think about business networking.
I'm back, dude.
Oh, tell us what you think about business networking, Ali. Tell us what you think.
At the moment, so I'm turning my camera off. Can you hear my audio?
Oh, that's the solution. Now hold still. Definitely leave your camera off. We've got amazing
Can you
Annette
hear my
Bacon in the
audio,
waiting
Ed?
room. We got you, Ali. We got amazing Annette Bacon in the waiting room. We're going to say hello to Annette Bacon. Annette Bacon, I'm going to hit the add to stage key. Annette Bacon is awesome. Annette Bacon, how you doing, my friend? Big welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Oh, loud and clear. And I like your gloves. Have you been doing some boxing or something? Have you, Annette Bacon?
It's about 8 degrees outside in Perth at the moment.
Okay.
So it's my fingerless gloves, so I can still, but have a bit of warmth. But yeah, like the idea of boxing.
Oh, because I thought you were going to like beat up some toxic men today, which I think is awesome. It's always a great day to beat up toxic men, Annette Bacon.
It is. Yes.
It is. Now,
Great to
big
be
welcome. Annette Bacon's one of our great friends from Perth, and we've got Ali Gibbs with us. Ali Gibbs got a bit of internet trouble, so we've turned off a video to see if that works. So today's topic is building a powerful community like a boss. And this can be personal, it can be business. We're really going to open it up. And of course, we're going to dunk on toxic people. You can't go to an Edwards live stream without me ranting about the evils of toxic people. So if you come in, hit that like, share, comment. Thank you for viewing our content. We absolutely love you. Now, we're going to start with Ali Gibbs on this one. Hopefully, Ali can hear us. Ali, tell us your thoughts on building a powerful community, about building your inner network and everything. Tell us what you think, Ali Gibbs. No, we don't have Ali today. Sorry, Ali, we've lost her internet. Annette Bacon, over to you. Tell us what you think, Annette Bacon.
I actually think this is a really important conversation. It's very timely for me at this point in time because the next step for me in my business and my mission is now building a community. Now that I'm really clear about who I am, what I want to do, where I want to be, it's now going, okay, so how do I now really connect in a world that is so disconnected? That's why I feel like the conversation is so important because community is all about connection and building. We're so, technology has pros and cons, but we can be very disconnected through our life and through social media. A lot of people are isolated. So I think like never before, building ways for us to connect through community is really important.
Yeah, I think it's well said. It's actually, and this is definitely one of the themes I've got on our list for today. One of our talking points is the epidemic of loneliness. I know we've talked about this before. There's a huge epidemic of loneliness across the world. So even though we're more connected, people are feeling more and more lonely. And I think that impacts us heavily as business people. Why do you think there's such a loneliness epidemic these days, Annette Bacon?
Look, there's a part of it I think there's a little bit like a post-COVID hangover, as they say as well. I think we got into the habit of isolation. And when we came back into the world, people in communities require vulnerability. If you're going to have meaningful connection with people, you need vulnerability. And I feel like there's a lot of distrust out in parts of the world where people are, I think it's great to question things, but there's also a real strong distrust of everything government, distrust of everything there's a real distrust. So I think what happened after COVID was we didn't feel safe. We didn't trust people. We didn't trust anybody, right? So I feel like there's a bit of that kind of post-COVID, that sort of started that for us. It was a post-COVID hangover, part of that. And so we need to kind of push past that and not allow that to define us moving forward.
Oh, love it. Now, Annette Bacon has really set up the stage. Well, we've got two powerful ladies in the green room who are going to come in. We've got Christina Davey with us and amazing Lara Arden, the two powerful ladies. We're going to let in Christina Davey first. Round of applause, Christina Davey. Welcome today, Christina Davey. How you doing, Christina Davey?
I am really good, recovering since last night where I was hosting beautiful event in my community, Sydney Social Connections. So it's glad to be here and talk about it. Actually, this is a really great topic, and Edward, you're such a pro at it. So definitely is going to be lots of insights on this conversation.
Oh, there we go. And that's Christina Davey we've got with us. And we've also got the amazing Lara Arden in the waiting room. She's a business awards coach and top networker based in Brisbane. The amazing Lara. Captain Lara Arden. Lara Arden, good to see you, my friend. How are you all doing?
Hello. It's great to be here. Wonderful to be here with you. Wonderful people as well.
Oh, big welcome. Now, for all our panelists, please keep your, unless you're speaking, just keep your microphones on mute just to keep down background noise. And it's great to have you all with us. Now, we've got the great topic today of building powerful community like a boss. And we're all very excited about it like that. So it's been Annette and I kicked open the discussion. Let's hear some thoughts from Lara Arden. Lara Arden, you're an amazing networker and you're great at building community. Tell us what your thoughts are on this one, Lara Arden.
Well, sorry, could you run it by me again, the topic? I've just raced in from the markets and I've sat down.
You did. Lara's running. It's building community, Lara. You're an amazing networker. Tell us how you build community and style.
Oh, wow. Well, I think I take a feather out of my cap from you, Ed, because you're the pro at building communities. I don't know anyone who does it as successfully as you. Incredible. And so if I think about some of the great lessons that I've learned from the master, it would be that, when you host an event, you want to set it up so that everybody feels like they're included. And that's one of the things I love about recognizing when I get to go to your events, is that you have a wonderful way of just letting the spotlight be on the people that are there, and then you really just step back and then let them come together and discover, what are the great things about what they do together for themselves with others, and I love the way that you just let the stories flow so that people can genuinely get to know each other. It's very organic, and my experience of that, of not having an agenda, has been really, I think, enlightening to help me see that, people actually have all of the answers within themselves, and that if we just get the opportunity to have a space to be heard, that comes out. And then when we get to hear that, that's the thing that really allows us to get to know each other. That old saying, people love to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. We get to experience that when we get to have these little conversations, one-to-one or one to a few. And I think that that's a really powerful point of leverage that you offer in your meetings, Ed, that I don't see like at other meetings that I get to go to when it comes to networking. So, that's something that I've learned from you, and something that I've started doing in a networking meeting that I've begun for myself as well with a small group here in Brisbane. We started last month. We've got our next one happening again this month. And it's really inspired me as to how I'd like to have things be for my people when we get together and I start to build community.
Oh, well said from Lara Arden. Lara, lovely word said from Lara.
Thank you.
Now, I want to bounce back to Christina Davey. Christina Davey, we actually ran our Sydney meetup today of Lassie, myself, and it was really good. Had heaps of people. And then Christina ran our evening meetup last night. Now, Christina, you deal with a lot of dating and all those sort of cool issues, right? You deal with all the cool dating, social stuff. Tell us some juicy insights on building a powerful community.
Look, I think it's really important that you bring people together for a purpose, not just to connect, but also what's actually really bringing them together in that room. And I want that kind of service, Lara. That was very distracting and very nice. I had to make my own.
Man bought your drink.
Make my own coffee.
So Lara gets silver service.
I know. We need one of those, whatever that was there.
Yeah. You should go tell them to vacuum the lounge room now. Like, just go tell them to vacuum the lounge room.
You gotta send the memo to Lassie.
There you go. Oh yeah. I don't think so. I don't think that would work. Yeah.
So anyway, getting back to the serious topic. So look, I think it's important that when you bring people together, you bring them for a purpose, not just to connect, but to connect over something. And in my community, for example, Sydney Social Connections, professionals, driven people, ambitious people who are switched on all the time in, during the week. They come at Harbour After Dark to unwind, to connect from a place of a heart, to really just slow down a little bit, right? And we're bringing together people who are who have in common the fact that they are busy professionals, they are, reaching goals, they are after something. So then the conversations are easy and smooth, but they can also, go into more authentic and heartfelt connections from there. But you gotta make sure that, the purpose of the group, right? It's focused on something specific, like speed dating, for example. I don't know if you know that speed dating was actually invented by a Jewish, a rabbi who was, putting together. Yeah, how like they were matched, before by family. So he thought, what's a modern way, a faster, more efficient way of putting people together that want to get married? Right. So he starts speed dating because all these people had something in common. They wanted family, they wanted a partner, they wanted to, step into that stage of their life. So I think it's really important that in order for them to feel like they belong, right, the group, the community has a specific audience, a specific sort of people, who have something in common. And of course, it doesn't have to be everything the same, right? But it's got to be like a one thing that gets them to feel like they belong.
Oh, that's well said. That's well said. Love it. And I love the Jewish reference as well. So my Jewish mom will be very proud of that. So there you go. Inventing speed networking. I can see that actually. It actually is a very Jewish thing in that, talk to all these people, don't waste my time. Let's cut to the chase. So I do appreciate that. There you go. Love it. Love it, Christina. Now, I think we're just going to go straight to hot mic mode because I can see Annette Bacon sort of bursting at the seams with some great thoughts. So we're just going to go to hot mic where we have a free-flowing discussion talking about building a powerful community like a boss. We're going to talk about everything from love, romance to business. And of course, we're going to attack toxic people because you can't come to a live stream with me without me dunking on toxic people who are the bane of my existence that I have to deal with every day. So without further ado, Annette Bacon, what do you think, Annette Bacon? What is your take on this one? Hit that unmute key. There we go.
There we go. Got it. Yeah, I love what you were saying, Christina. I think it's so important having like that purpose and that meaning. It's like it's the space to create that shared identity, isn't it? Where we've, and it's not just a shared identity, but and going to toxic environments, it's also about shared values. It's having that alignment as well, because you might actually have the same vision, but it's also those that you feel like you are really aligned with in your values. And if there's anything that I have learned of, I think in my business and in my career, is whenever I am not in an alignment with my values, then everything else just goes pear-shaped, right? It's not going anywhere good. So I think it's really important, as well as the shared identity, to extend that to be, okay, we also have that values alignment as well. I think that's an important thing to bring to the table too.
Totally. And I think a core part of building a powerful community like a boss is bringing people into us which have clear alignments to us. And this is actually one of my key questions I've got written. So I've got a nice metal laptop. You can actually write on it in pencil. So I actually write this on my laptop, then I rub it off at the end. So the actual one of the first questions I want to pose to all the panelists, and we're in hot mic mode, so any panelists, jump in anytime, just keep yourself on mute if you're not talking to keep down background noise. But to all our panelists, jump in first. We're all civilized. How do we attract the right people to us? So how do we bring the right people to us that we align with? Love to hear all your thoughts. Anyone jump in. Powerful ladies.
I think it's really...
Go
ahead.
Hey, yo. There you go.
What I was going to say was, this is really, I think this is about, and this is the work that I just recently did in Lara's Claim Your Spotlight. So that's why I thought, I'm ready for this one. I think it is really being clear in not just your vision and your mission and your values and your purpose, because I think that's the biggest thing. In a community, you want to have, what's my vision for the community? How am I going to do that through my mission? What are my values and what's my purpose? And then it's being clear in how you articulate in your language, whether it's in networking, whether it's in your marketing, whatever it is that you do, but that the language that you are using in your messaging is in alignment with all of that. And I think when you do that, then you'll start to find people often will go, this is for me, this isn't for me, and self-select, hopefully. And even those that maybe haven't self-selected eventually do at some point. But I think it's important that you've got the language of those things really clear and your community in a way that articulates and hits the audience that you want to attract.
Oof.
Thank you, Lara.
Well, I have to respond to that, Annette. Thank you. It was such a pleasure doing this work with you. And, the Claim Your Spotlight, I call it a special. It's a really special opportunity for us to really discover and uncover what we're here to do. I love that Christina talks about purpose. When you bring a community together, what is the purpose of that community? Like, what are they there for? Is it something that they're going to feel, as in something that they're going to experience? It could be something they're going to achieve together as a goal. What is the purpose if it's a combined goal, or if it's not something that they're going to achieve or be, it's something that they're going to do. So it could be that, you're going to do some work together. What is the combined goal or outcome that you're working towards in the community? And I think that it's important for us to remember that, when we're clear on this, it's easy for others to then recognize that, there's order here, there's clarity, there's calm. And if it's something that they're ready to step into or to step towards, then it's a natural conclusion for them that, yeah, this is something that's going to add value for me in whatever it is that I'm doing in my life, or, with my relationships and all sorts of things. So, yeah.
Our Romanian friend. Oh no, are you muted?
Couldn't find the unmute button. I was being held. Anyway, look,
men were holding you back. That's sexism. That's the patriarchy. That's men holding you back because they don't want to hear. No, it's fine. There you go. Carry on.
I think I just couldn't. Just couldn't.
It's communism. It's communist men from Romania not letting you speak.
Talking about communities, I had 2 events in the past 2 days, and I'm having another 4 days event next week. So it's I think my body is a bit slower today. and I didn't even drink. Imagine if I would have drunk. Sorry. So look, I love what you both said, Annette and Lara. You make such a strong points. And I deeply resonate with every single one of them. What I would like to add to it is I think it's important to have standards for the room, for the community, because not everyone is going to be a good fit. And I made this mistake when I first started 2 years and a half ago. I started the Sydney Social Connections. I welcome everyone because I was genuinely just wanted to bring people together. And I was like, yeah, just come along. But
which is a very legitimate thought at the start. When you start off something, you should welcome everyone. It's a very legitimate thing.
I wasn't very sure, and I didn't have the experience. And I think when you start the community, this is one thing that you really want to make sure of, to also have standards and be okay to say, hey, this might not be the right fit for you. Right? And I didn't want to say that because I wanted everyone to feel, included. I wanted everyone to come along. But the problem is that the vibe changes when you are very inclusive, right? So the energy in the room is changing. So it's really, really important to be okay with saying, well, this is what this community is about. Do you feel like it's the right fit for you? And some people are overconfident and they're like, yeah. And when they come, they feel out of place. Sometimes it's just the, shyness because it's something new. But sometimes it's really because they really genuinely don't belong. And it's really important to be okay with that. Because if you don't, then you're changing the energy of the community. And preserving the energy and the vibe, it's supporting with the initial purpose. And all of these were learnings, right? When I jumped in and I spoke with Edward. Yeah, can I just say, Edward, I'm so grateful for how much I learned, from you, in terms of, how to bring people together and what to do, to have a successful event. And that's why we are now bringing 60 to 80 people, right? Because we are doing the work that leads there. And standards, and be okay with saying, maybe this is not the right fit for you, and you're not saying it to put people down. You're just genuine and authentic, because we are the gatekeepers of the community. Because we are the ones bringing people together, and it's okay to say, maybe this is not for you.
Oh, that's well said. Now, just jumping in for a second, we've got Ali Gibbs back with us, and she's amazing. And internet providers have declared war on Ali right now. So, but we're going to try again. So, can everyone please pray to Jesus, saying, "Dear Lord, please help Ali with her shitty internet. Let's try again." Now, this is a 50-50 thing. So, everyone, think about Ali and think warm thoughts to Ali deep down. We're going to try again. Ali, can you hear us? We're going to try again. How you doing, Ali? We just can't get a break around here. So there we go. So we're very so. So I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to do a section for Ali Gibbs. So just a quick intermission. So for all those listening, Alison Gibbs from Melbourne is one of our great friends and people you need to speak to. So make sure you connect with Alison Gibbs. We'll try and get you in next time, Alison. But yeah, if your internet declare wars on you, internet declare wars on you. So that's all really good. And I think this is one of the key things. This is one of the key talking points I got for today's live stream as well. I've been having this conversation a lot lately with a lot of people. And Christina and I were talking about this yesterday. Well, the biggest thing I find, especially for women, this is obviously a dude's impression of women, right? One of the biggest failings that women do is I think women do it worse than men. They let too many toxic and negative people in their life. So as you're all saying, a lot of women will let into their lives people who don't fit the same supportive values as them. So in simple terms, They just let bad people into their inner circle, and those bad people just run roughshod of their life. Now, I am horribly mansplaining here, and this is a dude's opinion. So I want to open up to all you fine ladies. What do you think of that statement? Am I wrong? Am I completely incorrect? Or do you think there's perhaps some truth here?
Yep. Yeah, I think you've nailed it, Ed. And what it comes down to is exactly what Christina was talking about before, is not having those standards clear. And if we've got those standards clear, kind of like boundary lines from the outset, it's much easier for us to just, let people know, look, we do have an edge. You you cross over it and might have to think again. Because we want to be inclusive at the same time. We want everyone that's within those boundaries or in that community to feel that they can relax and be at ease, because there's nothing that's going to upset the energy or the balance within the group. It's the ideal. You go.
Just reacting to that, and this is one of the key points as well, this word inclusive has become a very poisoned word. Like, it's used often in politics, it's used in everything. Yeah. And I used to use the word, I've stopped using the word inclusive a few years ago because it's so toxic and poison, because inclusive always has the viewpoint of being a doormat. Because inclusive means you have to involve everyone, you have to put up with other people's crap. And I think inclusive is basically meaning no boundaries. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Look, I think we can have inclusivity. The way I like to look at it is that there is unity in diversity, meaning that it's nice to have different perspectives, different points of view, but we all need to be coming from the same place energetically, meaning that we're working through, let's call it an attitude of benevolence rather than malevolence, right? Yeah. Malevolence is toxic, right? Even malignant can be an ignorant form of toxicity, because people think that they're doing the right thing, and so they act in good faith, not realizing that what they're doing is actually having a negative outcome, on the other people or those around them. So that's like something in between. So you've got your benevolence, you've got which is good people with, good hearts and well intentions. And then you've got the opposite end, which is your malevolence, which is like your bad faith actors that have bad intentions. They don't have a good heart towards others. And then you've got something in the middle, which is where good people are trying to do something good, but it lands badly. So it's not really their fault, but it just doesn't have a great outcome for others.
Yeah. Oh, based, Lara.
Thank you so much, Lara. I love that. And I want to say this. When I think about inclusivity, I say this. Inclusivity does not... I like to be inclusive. I work in my work environments as well that I've been in the past, in terms of in adult education, for instance. In adult education, the entire sector is about inclusivity and diversity, right? The one thing that I've learned through that is this. Inclusivity is, for me, about, firstly, you can until you can't, right? Well, sorry, you can't until you can. There's always possibility, right? But equally so, inclusivity does not equal being a doormat. So it's not about... So for me, I will take people at face value, because that's, I guess, the starting point for me is I take you on face value but your behavior teaches me how to treat you in that space and what boundaries I'm going to have in that relationship and how much access I give you to my time and energy. And so I'm not precluding somebody, but if your behavior isn't in alignment with values and the standards that we're setting, then I have the right to say, no, I'm not giving time and energy in that space, or my time and energy is limited until there is a behavior and mindset shift.
Oh, base. And what is... Oh, Christina Davey. I see Christina Davey about to go crazy. What do you think, Christina? Hit that unmute key, Christina, and tell us what you think.
Oh, it was a mic drop moment, right? I think, Lara, you're so beautiful, and you're so caring and kind, and that comes right through when you speak and when you and how you are with people. And I agree about making sure that they are feeling welcome and included and part of the community. And I have a part like that in me too. And I can also see Annette, firm with boundaries and be like a bit, not black and white, but like, look, these are the standards, these are the boundaries, are your line, right? And I had to learn to develop that because I didn't always have it, because I always wanted to be kind and caring. And I was too inclusive.
Yep.
And it actually has affected the community. And I had to step in and redirect, because look, people make mistakes. And I don't always look at, I have people coming and telling me, hey, this person is this and this person, it might not be that. And I'm like, you know what? I can see that. And at the same time, in this community, this person has been fine. Right? So I'm not going to just give in to like whatever what they did somewhere else, because while I'm holding the boundaries, the standards here, they are actually taking that on board. And this comes with leadership. And this is what I needed to develop in terms of how I'm leading this group. And I have to be okay with, sorry, I'm writing notes because sometimes I go into many tangents. So I have to be okay with, trying to understand what happened, right? So I'm going to ask the person, hey, I've heard this, or this is what, I got some feedback and I just want to hear you out. So I'm being inclusive. I'm not just like cutting them off. I'm letting them be heard and seen. And then I am redirecting the attitude or the behavior or whatever what it is. And one thing I learned about Edward, I'm okay with repeating 3, 5, 6 times the same thing over and over until they get it. This is the standard, because I used to tell Ed, but and then he'll be yes and the same thing, and I'll be like but and then he'll be yes and boom, right? And I learned to be okay with redirecting the behavior, the attitude, whatever what it was, and being very consistent in, the standards, not the expectations, the standards and the boundaries of the community. And I think we can do both. Yeah, I think we can be inclusive and also be okay. It's okay to be closing the door. And one beautiful thing that happened, I remember one night, it was when somebody was not behaving according to the standards. And, I had men coming behind me from the community and saying, hey, do you need some support with this? And I felt like I was backed by the community because everybody understood the standards of the group. And they were like, if you need us, just tell us, we're coming with you. Because as a woman sometimes, right, you're wearing heels and you got lipstick, and a strong man might not take you serious, right? So I also had the community backing me because they are aware what we stand for. So that was really, a learning curve. And I think it's beautiful how like you both highlighted, something that's beneficial. We can use both approaches, it's just at the right time kind of thing.
And just on that and reacting to it, I think it's very, very sad when, men just don't listen to women, as simple as that. And I've seen this a lot, unfortunately. I've seen this, and we've kicked men out of our meetups for this reason. I gladly kick them out. Whereas because I'm a dude, or they'll treat a man a certain way, but they'll treat women in a much more different negative way in terms of, well, you're a woman, so therefore what I say goes, or you're a woman, so I don't really care about what you think. So I'm really glad you pushed back on that, guy. So I say two things, especially to men. Toxic men we can't stand. Of course, toxic women can't stand. So this is actually a really, really good discussion point. And it brings me on the key things that we're coming to. It's actually the big point of it is what we tolerate and what we don't tolerate. And this is actually the core point and the core talking point I want to explore is that, again, as a recap, inclusivity has been something that's been pushed politically on us for years. Oh, you've got to be inclusive. You've got to support diversity and all this stuff, right? But often it's used with a level of malevolence, as Lara says, and that, you know, we're meant to just tolerate everything and have no standards and no boundaries. So we're actually saying the opposite in this Boss Lady song. We're actually saying you need standards, you need boundaries. And as a man talking to women, I always say that women need stronger boundaries, and that's my key point. So with all that mansplaining I've just done, I want you women to women-splain to me what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Can you outdo what I've said? Because we all love to hear it. So who wants to go first and put me in my place? Go, Lara, put me in my place.
I don't know if it's putting you in your place, but I just really want to say
Okay.
thank you
Totally
for saying that, because
totally trolling.
oh no, go for it. And you know, we need to call these things out, right? Because if
Yes.
we don't, we have to call out the bad behavior, because if we don't, then there's no standards, all right? And there's no common purpose that actually pulls the group into alignment. Alignment is coming together, doing the same thing, thinking the same thing, feeling the same thing, working for the goal at the same time. If there's no unison, if there's no harmony, then, you know, what did they say? Together we conquer, divided we fall, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, so we do have to have those standards, but also those observations when we see that, wait a minute, somebody's starting to, you know, creep outside the boundaries with their behavior. It's not appropriate, or their words, you know, or their conversation, and pull people back into line. So I think that that's really important, that we remember that, and we don't try to be so inclusive that we ignore things, right? Because that can also be a danger as well for the betterment of the group. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that as leaders, and thank you for raising the topic of leadership, you know, when we're hosting a community, is that we have the opportunity to lead by example, and that is through coaching. Coaching is what gives us the opportunity to let others know that something that they've done that they might not be aware of needs correction, or it needs a conversation. Because if people are acting, and this is where malignance comes in, not malevolence. I'm talking about malignance now. Malignance is where people do something with good intention, but it lands badly. And so they're probably people that you want to have in the group, because they recognize it's a place that they can grow, but they're not there yet. They don't know everything. They need a bit of help. They want some guidance. And this is where the coaching as a leader comes into play. We get the opportunity to help them learn how to be a better player, right? To be a better team member, to be part of the group. And so what that coaching looks like is something where we can help them start to realize that what it is that they've done, you know, it's an opportunity for them to see that there could be some feedback in this. Maybe there's some lessons for them to learn. And we help them try to see what those lessons are for themselves. Look, we can spell it out and we can tell them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've caught it for themselves, right? Because sometimes if people are doing things with blinkers on, they might not see it, right? But, you know, this is where we get the opportunity as leaders to, you know, to be discreet, to step aside with somebody and give them a coaching opportunity and help them learn, you know, a little bit more, because they might not have learned yet. It could be as simple as that.
Lara, I love what you were saying there, especially when you're talking about, you know, as leaders, it is about that role modeling. I think it's really important that when we step into that space, our self-leadership, if we're not in that space and if we're not modeling those behaviors and those expectations and holding ourselves to the same standard, then, you know, you kind of you start to lose as your leader almost kind of like the authority to speak into that space, because you got do the talk, don't just do the talk, but do the walk, right? Show people exactly. So I love that you touched on that. And for me, it's also necessarily, to me, it's not necessarily a gender conversation. It's an energy conversation, because we know that there could be toxic men and toxic women, and just, you know, all of that is just not welcome. It's not helpful, and it needs to have very, very strong boundaries. When I'm thinking about communities, what I want to be able to do is show up as Annette, and in the times when I need to step into my femininity, that feminine energy of, you know, compassion, of empathy, of creativity, of innovation, of flow, all of that beautiful energy that femininity brings in the moment. You're, especially what you just described, Laris, because you're very feminine energy led, right? So everything that you just spoke came out of a space of empathy. Let's find out what's going on. Let's have that conversation. But also then knowing when to step into our masculine energy and saying, right, when the rubber hits the road, decisions need to be made, action needs to be taken. And if you're not going to change the behavior, then you need to move on, you know. And I think it's important to recognize that both of them are very contextual and very not just about the context, but also about the person and the kinds of relationships that you have, the trust bank of what that you've built up with people, whether you've got that built enough trust and respect in that relationship, because you've got to know how far you can go in that space as well. So I think it's really important to, you know, recognize that we want to give people the opportunity to make those changes. But if the changes aren't, then there needs to be the follow through action.
Spot on, both of you, as usual. Like, I love you both. Look, Lara, you said, you know, can they be a better player? And let's coach them. And I like that. And I think there's in every incident or event or interaction, there's an opportunity to learn something from it. I think it's important to really assess quickly sometimes if the level of readiness of the person and the capacity of them being coached or adjusting, right? And then, Annette, I love that, alternative thing with the masculine and feminine. I agree with it as well. I think it's a good combination, and the ability to go from warmth and empathetic to solid, and this is what you need to do, and step into that energy. It's something that needs to be practiced by many people who are leaders in a community. And it's a skill that can be developed when there's awareness and knowledge in knowing how. And, this is what my coaching is about. So great points, ladies. What I wanted to add to what you're saying is, and move away a little bit from, this topic around boundaries and inclusivity, is I think we got to also, something I learned from Ed is we got to also know how to pick the location of where the community meets, because the location needs to be aligned as well. I remember telling Edward, hey, I want us to meet in the park, because I work from home. So for me, being outdoors would be like ideal. I want to, do this in a park and, have that free flow. And he's like, yeah, but the people that you're bringing in, they want this. And then he also guided me and coached me, right? And told me like, look, you got to keep the brand. So we really need to know that the location we are picking, where we are choosing, is aligned with the brand, right? And the other thing as well is I realized that when you schedule something outdoors, you are at the mercy of the weather too. So location is really important, right? And sometimes when you don't have the experience, you don't really realize. And then partnerships. I think partnerships are really important when you're building and you want to increase the numbers of the community as well. Being okay with cross promote and partner, and making sure that the partnership is also aligned. Again, learnings, part of the learnings is I did a cross promotion with a group, but the age difference, I wasn't aware. There was a big difference between the age of my group and the other community, right? They were much younger, so it's not necessarily aligned because they were at different stages in life. So I think there's so many things that you're going to learn as you're creating a community, and it's really important that you have a mentor, And thank you, Edward and Lassie, because as I said, I learned so much from you. And I want to give you the credit because, the community that I built, it was because of, the insights that you brought. And so those are the two things that I wanted to add: location and partnership. Make sure it's aligned with the brand and with the people that you want to bring in the community.
Oh, absolutely well said. Give it to Christina, love it. Now, I actually made an interesting note, and we've had a great conversation talking about community, events, meeting people, boundaries. I actually want to go back to a lot of people who might be listening. To those watching us right now, big thank you. Hit that like, share, comment. Make sure you connect with Annette Bacon, Lara Ard, and Christina Daver online. Amazing characters. I actually want to go back to the individual watching. So I talk to a range of people every day. I talk to very established business leaders, and I talk to people who are just at the start of their journey, or they might actually be older, but they've had a big upset in their life or a big change in a way that they're restarting and rebooting. It could be a failed marriage, failed business, but quite often actually failed jobs. Failed jobs when you see a lot of people older in life rebooting. Like, I would actually say 90% of my conversations with people who have failed later in life is due to their careers going belly up for whatever reason, and then they're having that big sort of career reboot. Now, where I'm going at, and I want to throw it to the group, anyone jump in first, I want to have a discussion about, for those who are quite lonely, for those people who are on their own, they might have moved cities, they might have had a huge upset in their life, and let's say they don't really know anyone, they don't have any right people around them. Where do you get started? That's the line of logic I want to throw out to our powerful boss ladies. First one in wins. What do you all think?
I'm sorry, I have to jump in for this one because I think this is where really, Edward, you do an amazing job of making something available in providing a platform for people where they've got a place to go to, even if they can't get to it physically. And I know that you're incredible, the way that you get up at 3 a.m. and fly up to Brisbane once a month. That you don't only do it for our Brisbaneites, but you also head down to Melbourne, and then you're also, appearing in Sydney and then flying to Canberra. So you're in one of these cities every week across the nation, well, the eastern part of the nation, the whole month, every month, the whole year. Even doesn't stop for Christmas. Not only that, so if you can't get there in person to mix and mingle and to meet some new people and to say hi to the amazing Ed, he shows up online for you as well, right? Because not everyone can get to the city. So you can even be there twice a week with Ed, and he'll be there to give you an opportunity to feel what it's like not to be alone, but to be part of a community and to come together. And, he does that not only for his leaders, but for everyone that comes to the meeting. Everyone has an opportunity to have a voice, to be heard, to be invited, to let people know what they're there for. And I just think that's amazing, and I just, sorry, it's a shout out to you, but I just want to say that this is how you do it. This is what's available for you. And thank you for providing that week after week, month after month. And you've been doing this now for how long? Over 10 plus years. Absolutely phenomenal. Unstoppable energy. There we go. Thank you.
What I would like to add to what you said, Edward, and I agree, Lara. It's look, loneliness comes from not being clear in what creates loneliness in the first place. And I think a multitude of things are important. First of all, understanding what is it that you like, that you enjoy, that makes you happy, right? So those interests, and start from there, like just literally being willing to explore and try to see what fits. Because at the beginning, you're going to go in a multitude of communities, and, out of 5, maybe 1 fits, right? 1 is more what suits. But the more you expose yourself, the more you understand what really fits and what doesn't. I have people that come in my community and they're telling me this is not my thing. And that's great, because that means they know who they are. They know what they need, who they want to connect, and they are, preserving their time and energy. And then I think we also need to understand, if we are feeling lonely, why we're not putting ourselves in those situations to explore. Is it the fear of rejection? Is it that we feel we're not good enough? Is it a strong sense of not belonging anywhere? The imposter syndrome. There's so many things that could be that prevent people to really connect with others. Because there's the desire to connect, and connection means safety for many people. But then there's also the fear of connecting, the fear of being seen, the fear of I might make a mistake, the fear of I might not belong, the rejection, right? The fear of I might make some friends and then they discover who I am and they're gonna just leave me. Fear of abandonment can kick in. So there's so many reasons why someone might feel lonely, and getting the help to understand what's creating that will allow them to expose themselves. Because, and I see this in dating all the time, people are telling me, oh, there are no good ones out there. No, there are lots of them, but what rooms are you going into? What rooms are you exposing yourself, and how are you showing up? Right? So, this is my, 2 cents into the question. I think it's really important to understand why the loneliness is there, and really, are you willing to do something about it? Because not everybody is willing to change that, and they just stay the same. They're not doing what it takes to not be lonely anymore, and they think this is it for them. But having a growth mindset and understanding, no, this is where I am and this is what I want, and I can get there. And if I don't know how, then it's okay to ask for help.
I love what you said, Christina. I think it's so important to have the conversation around what the feelings and the fears, because connection takes vulnerability. So, and where, I was saying earlier when Ed and I started at the beginning, we were talking about where do we kind of feel like the loneliness is coming from? Well, for me, I feel like it's kind of a bit of a post-COVID hangover, right? Where people got so we just isolated, like we isolated because we needed to do that for safety, okay? And we got so much in that space of isolation, and then all those fears kind of are under the surface. And what I love about what you're saying, Christina, is sometimes we need to reach out and get the support of what's going on internally before we can take that step, because it takes vulnerability. And if there are within us all those reasons to not step out, then the decision is, okay, making the courageous decision to say, I need support on what's going on internally so I can understand that and I can work through that so that I can learn the strategies to feel safe and safe enough to be vulnerable, to want to take the next step and make connection. Because I think that is really going to be the starting point for moving forward.
Absolutely based. And there's 2 words that have come up that I've written with my beautiful pencil on my very messy yet very nice Microsoft laptop. Rejection and trauma. I don't want to, trauma's a different topic. I want to sort of stay out of trauma. But rejection, I remember, if I look back on because there's a lot of people find this interesting about me. So I came to Sydney about 15 years ago not knowing anyone. And I know more people in Sydney than most people will probably meet in their entire life, just in the nature of work that I do. And I remember one of the things that held me back in business and life was always fear of rejection. And I find that almost amusing to say, because I can't believe I used to be afraid of rejection. I get rejected all day. Like, to me, my day is just one long marathon of rejection. But we want to speak to a lot of people, especially women, bring it back to women's empowerment. I find women, and I'm not being sexist here, I think everyone will agree with this, women experience rejection at a much higher intensity than men. I really do believe that. I say it all the time. I find a lot of men can shrug off rejection. I couldn't, but a lot of men can shrug off. But a lot of women really take it as a dagger in the heart when they get rejected. And I actually want to discuss rejection, because one of the biggest reasons why people are lonely, I feel, is because of rejection. The fear of rejection, I know Christina Davies says this all the time from a dating point of view, right? Fear of rejection is what keeps us lonely, because we're trying to make new friends. What if they call us a loser, or if they say that we're fat, or what if they say that Apple phones are better than Samsung phones? What if they say something that really hurts me on a deep level, right? So I want to throw out the rejection word, and I'd love to hear our boss lady's reaction on that one. What do you think of rejection? Where does it come from? How do we overcome it? If you keep your answers more aimed at women, that'll be really good, because I think women are the ones that feel it the most. So over to our boss ladies. Please fire at will.
Okay, all right. So for me, this was something that I struggled with when I would say probably more in my 30s. I went through a stage in my career where there was a lot of change going on, and there was a lot of change in the space. So I worked in community services for a lot of my career. So a lot of my career was very much contract work, or short-term contracts. Might be 12 months, 18, 2 years, something along those lines. And as I was trying to, I guess, respond to that and step out. Sorry, I just get my thoughts for a second. It was probably the second or third job interview that I had done, and it was actually a woman that did the interview, which was really hard. And in that interview, she wasn't very good in terms of her interview techniques. And I walked away from that interview for the first time really just feeling, I felt like I'm never getting in, because the expectation of what they wanted was really high. And it's interesting, because one of the things that I have learned through my experience in working with women who are in that transition of careers, the fear of rejection comes up quite a lot. Women aren't confident in that space in interviews. A man might apply for a job, they can do 50% of it, they're 100% confident they can do the whole job. Women look at the job and then they turn around and go, if I can only do 70% of the job, I'm not applying for it, because I'm not good enough and I don't want to be rejected. And that's actually, there are some statistics around that, around seekers. It's like they are real stats, right? They've done some surveys around that. So I found that has been my example when I've been working with some of my clients. The one reason they are paralyzed from making a decision to stay or go from an organization that's toxic is the fear of rejection. I do not want to put myself out there and be rejected. So I think it's a really important conversation to be having, because in order to move forward, you've got to work through what that looks like for you. It's delving in and saying, okay, where is that coming up from? For me, it was aligned with the fear. It was aligned with perfectionism. In that wanting to be perfect, needing to be perfect, underneath that was actually the fear of rejection. I would be rejected if I was not always putting the perfect front on, if I couldn't be 100% all the time, and trying to meet those standards. So I think it's really about getting down to the individual person, understanding, because it might not be perfectionism. But for me, it was deeply rooted in perfectionism. And I wore perfectionism as a badge. I thought it was a badge of honor to be worn. I'm such a perfectionist, you know, and I thought it was a good thing, but it was paralyzing. But when I stripped away all of the thinking and the patterns, at the root of it, it was the fear of rejection.
It's interesting that you say, Edward, that you think that women experience that more. I think it's the opposite. And I think it really depends on the context. I really think so. So on the dating scene, it's actually the other way around. Men experience more rejection because they are expected to initiate more. So a woman would rather lay back, and then because the man is the one that's inviting, you know, and reaching out to women. And it's even on the online dating, you know, women wait for men to reach out. And that's why it's creating such an awful experience, because the men that are reaching out are not necessarily someone that the woman is feeling aligned with, and then they think this is online dating. No, it's just because you also as a woman should reach out to the men, right, that you want to talk to. So on the dating scene, for example, I think the men are experiencing more rejection simply because they initiate more, right? They're expected also to initiate more. But when it comes to feeling it, now women, especially feminine women, they're more in tune with their feelings, and therefore they might feel it more strongly than a man. Because if we are in, and I don't think it's a man and woman thing necessarily, masculine and feminine energy, because the masculine, it's initiating and it's taking action, and therefore the feelings, whoosh, you know, you park them somewhere and you deal with them hopefully at some point. And I had to do a lot of that after my breakup last year, right? Because if I was just going to feel, I wasn't able to run the business, right? So I had to use a lot of my masculine energy in terms of moving on, and you know, because otherwise I was feeling a lot. So I think that men tend to park the feeling of feeling rejected and eventually deal with it at some point, or never deal with it, while women are more in tune with their feelings, so they are experiencing stronger. And I think that's the nuance here, my opinion anyway. But I don't think it's a really black and white thing. I think it's just up to the individual and the experience as well. Yeah, I'm just going to stay with that because I'm looking at the time as well, and I can see where we are. I can talk about this until the cows come home.
No, I think it's really good. It's interesting. We are going to go a little bit over time today because there's a few points. I could finish on time, but then there's just another point I want to cover off on that I just made a note of, and we'll make this the sort of last thing we explore today. Then we'll have our closing thoughts and monologues. And it's about feelings, right? And I mean feelings in that respect of, you know, let's say you've gone through a breakup. Let's say you're dating again. Let's say you're in business and your career has failed and you're starting again, and you're feeling all these negative feelings. You're feeling negative. You feel, and I've been here too, so I'm definitely talking about novel version of self. You feel down on yourself. You don't believe in yourself. You got imposter syndrome or whatever. And how do you get over your negative feelings? How do you overcome your feelings? How do you park your feelings? How do you sort of overcome the fear of rejection and all those negative feelings to build the life that you want? I just want to throw that cat amongst the pigeons, and I'd love to hear Lara's thoughts on this one because she's quite a pro on this topic.
Thank you. I really actually enjoy this topic because for me, this is the art of self-discovery. It's where Claim Your Spotlight, the challenge begins. you know, people with working with me have the opportunity to go all the way through to the top if they want to in the awards arena. But I do like to start people right at the beginning with the Claim Your Spotlight Challenge, because it's a grounding opportunity for us to step into self-discovery and really start to uncover, what the heck is this all for? What is it all about? And have I been rejected from, you know, my job or my career, if it's the latest stage in life or even midlife, for it to all be in vain? Because it's a failure. Is it a reflection of me? Am I a failure? Is it a reflection of the system? Is the system a failure? Is it men against women, women against men? You know, is it the gender battle? Like, what the heck is going on? And it's actually all just feedback. Gives us the opportunity to really, if we want to take the time to pause, because it is an act of slowing down and taking space for us to actually look inside and go, okay, what sense can I make of this? Because it's all great feedback.
I love that, Lara. That's amazing. And having just done some work with Lara, shout out again. You need to connect with Lara. You need to connect with this woman. I'm telling you, everything that she just said, I think it's really important when we're dealing with emotions is finding someone safe that we can unpack those emotions with. Because I think sometimes we don't want to get in a space where we judge our emotions. Emotions is data. It's there to tell us how we are thinking or feeling about an experience or thoughts. That is fundamentally what emotion is about, and our experiences. And I think it's so important to process that emotion. And again, emotions, that kind of healing needs support. Doing it alone, you can't do it alone. You're not going to be successful doing it alone, because you need a safe space where you can process that emotion without judgment, your own self-judgment, because we've all got that inner critic that goes on, hello, and says, you know, and will have a go at us. And we're very quick to listen, especially women. I do agree. Women are very much listening to that inner critic a lot. So I think it's important that you have somebody that you feel safe with, because again, it's vulnerability. The conversation for me keeps coming back to anything around loneliness and community. It takes vulnerability. So it's being able to recognize and sit in a safe space where you can process, not only process the emotion, but process it in a healthy way. And then process what's the story that you are now going to tell yourself from that emotion moving forward. I think one of the conversations that came up before was with fact. Sometimes it's going, okay, what's the story I'm telling now? If it's an emotion, and if you're lonely, that when you start talking about, you know, things like depression and anxiety, often it's about the story we are telling ourselves in when those emotions are coming up. So you need the support, because you're not going to necessarily challenge that narrative at all. You need someone to help challenge you in that space. And I think that is the power of the work all of these beautiful women, including myself, do, is we create those safe spaces where you can come, rest your nervous system, learn to notice what's going on, slow down, be noticing, be curious, and be supported in that process.
I truly agree. Lara, you started by saying, you know, let's just see what this is about. And let's get basically what you're saying is let's just get the clarity, and it's feedback. We make feeling like this big, ugly monster, right? And my little input in here is like, look, it's okay to feel. And it's also okay to don't feel all the time. Right? Because sometimes you just got to be focused and feeling kind of it's in the way. So my advice, if I had to choose one to go with here, is schedule a me time where, as Annette was saying, you unpack and process your emotions. What is it that I'm feeling in my body right now? Because sometimes we try to make our way through feelings by thinking, but we are not actually feeling it in our body. Where is it located? How is it? What exactly emotion it is? I've done this in the process with a client, who she could see what was happening in a friend, but she couldn't see that, like she could see that she was doing that as well, but she was like, how do I help her? I want to help her. And I'm like, you're helping by understanding what's the urgency of helping her in you. And this is where I agree with Annette when she said, like, look, you need the support. You need someone that's outside to guide you, because otherwise you're guiding yourself. And look, us here, we've done a lot of work. Not everybody has done inner work to know how to guide themselves through a process like sitting with the feelings, right? Because if they have a story, the story sometimes becomes bigger and they don't know how to get themselves out from there, right? So being guided is really important. But if you have experience, then just sit and get that clarity, as Lara was saying, and like, what it's this about? It's feedback, okay? There's something in here that I overlooked. I parked on the shelf and forgot it's there. Like when you throw some key in a drawer and there's so much in that drawer that you like don't even know you don't even want to look into it because you get overwhelmed by looking at it. So it's a bit like that, right? So so that's my little input in here is like, schedule a me time. If you've done inner work, if you know how to do it, sit with that feeling, see what it's telling you. It's in your body. It's not a thinking thing. You got to really like just listen to your body. And if you don't know how to do that, get help, because you don't need to sit with it. You don't need to just have it forever. Rejection, it's a temporary emotional state. That's all. It's a temporary emotional state, but for some people, it stays with them forever.
Oh, well
Just so
said.
they don't know how to
Christina.
do it.
Oh, love it. Now, we're going to have closing monologues in just a moment. So if you stayed with us this long, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like, share, comment. If you're watching the recording as well, make sure you connect with these ladies on LinkedIn. We are going to have closing thoughts. Before I want to talk about that, I want to talk about something I probably shouldn't on a live stream. The Boys. Now, The Boys is on Amazon Prime. Do any of you ladies watch The Boys? Probably not. It's really bad. It's really out of control. It's basically bad superheroes gone wrong. And the big villain in it is a guy called Homelander, actually played by a New Zealand actor called Anthony Starr. And he's actually been nominated for one of the best villains of all time. Like if you type Homelander into YouTube, make sure kids aren't around, you're not going anywhere for a while. And what he has this interesting scene is a lot of it, he's a very insecure, broken villain. And a lot of scenes, he'll look in the mirror and he'll start fighting himself in the mirror. So it'll be him in the mirror saying, oh, you're just so insecure, you're this and that. And then it's got him saying, no, you're weak and pathetic. So it has this whole scene of him fighting himself and basically squashing his older feelings. I couldn't agree more. I think you ladies have said it well. I've been guilty of, I feel something negative, I just judge myself for feeling it. But I think there's something to be said for, if the heat's on, you got to carry on, great. But when you get a bit of time, I think it's so good to unpack and explore your feelings. Otherwise, you go a bit crazy, like I did a few years ago. So there you go. And I don't want anyone watching this to go nuts like I did a few years ago. And quick shout out, James Glover. Jameson Glover is also a Fallout fan. Love your work too. What are you thinking, Christina?
I have to run, so I just want to say, sorry, I have a meeting, but I have to say, it has been a pleasure.
Quick closing thought, Christina, go.
Explore, be okay with exploring what feels aligned in terms of community. Don't let fear of rejection stop you. Address that if that's what it is. If you see you can't put yourself out there, unpack it and then go out there and look. Connection is within your reach. You just got to get the clarity and a part of moving forward. Lara, Annette, it has been a pleasure. I appreciate you. I love you. I love doing these things with you, and see you and have a beautiful weekend.
Oh my gosh. Say bye to Christina. We love you, Christina. Have a stellar weekend. Love your work on many, many levels. So just incredible. We love you, Christina. Very nice. Now, on that note, we should definitely go to closing thoughts before we just talk about film and cinema for the rest of the afternoon. So we'll get closing thoughts. In closing thoughts, usually we give each of our panelists, such as Christina, a good minute or whatever to really give closing thoughts on what they've heard today and their advice for people in the future. So let's hear closing thoughts from Annette Bacon. Annette Bacon, what are your closing thoughts, my friends?
Wow. I have so loved this discussion. And I think what I love about it is so timely. It's just timely.
Yeah.
And I think it's the big takeaway for me is the conversations that we've been having around vulnerability. More and more, I know for me in my work, if we were talking about attachment styles, little Missy Moo here, I'm an avoidant attachment style. My husband's an anxiously attached. So we, have our moments in terms of, I shut down my emotions. So I have been on this, on a personal level as well as professionally, on this exploration of my vulnerability. And my closing thought is, do the work. It doesn't matter how. I understand that there's all those fears, but they are holding you back from moving forward. The success you do not have now is because of the thinking that is keeping you trapped and not making space to process that emotion with somebody. Don't stay in that space. You are one decision away. Only you can make that decision. Only you can make that decision. But do it. You will not regret it. And if there's one thing out of today, everybody here, there is support out there. Reach out and get that support. Do not stay where you are now. You don't need to be.
Oh, that is stellar. Annette Bacon, absolutely stellar. And that brings us to, last but not least, our closing thoughts for the day and evening in the US. Thank you for those watching in from the US. Lara Arden, what are your closing thoughts for today?
Wow. Annette, thank you so much. What a powerful note to finish on. I don't think I can follow on from that.
You're just going to have to surrender. You're just going to have to take the L. No.
That's it.
Unless you can try and outdo Annette. No,
you've done it.
Sorry, I'm being very masculine here. That's terrible.
Smashed it out the park for all of us. But I think if I were to add anything, it would just be that for women, it takes courage to be vulnerable and to face the truth. Right. And to accept it for whatever it is. If the feedback is saying, like that career is over, that job is gone, it's okay. Like just face it. Maybe you need to sit with it a little bit, as Christina said, just let those emotions flow and process, understand that, as Annette said, the state is only temporary. It's not going to last. It's going to go. You'll feel better soon. And then when you're ready and you want to discover something new about yourself, recognize that you can do that and you don't have to do it on your own. You've got Ed's amazing platform here. You can step into one of his online or his in-person events, and it's free. Like there's nothing holding you back. And even if that's not something you feel you have the courage yet to do on your own, grab a mate, grab a friend and say, come with me, right? Because you don't have to do it on your own. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But thank you for this conversation, for Christina, Annette, Ed, and all of our amazing viewers that have been there with us as well. Really appreciate your comments as well. Couldn't do without all of you. So thank you for being here. It's been an amazing Boss Lady Summit today from May. We're into May already. Wow.
Well, we are. Lara Arden and Annette Bacon, big thank you. And I know we went over time, but I just had to, because if we're on a roll, I'm not going to be a sexist male pig and stop these powerful ladies. There we go. Because we condemn sexism on every level, unless it benefits us. Just kidding. Maybe not. But it's a really good. Great having you all with us. So, yeah, just a few things, just as a wrap for our fans from across the world. Thank you for watching. Also, if you haven't already, connect with wonderful Lassie. Lassie's my wife and partner in business and life. So make sure you connect with Lassie. The Boss Ladies is actually Lassie's idea. So Lassie originally came up with this concept, and we've been running it now for a few years. So a big shout out to Lassie, who created the Boss Ladies concept. And also, if you're in Sydney as well, Lassie also runs a regular Boss Ladies lunch. So a few things before you go. So remember, make sure you connect with Annette Bacon over LinkedIn, Lara Arden over LinkedIn, also Christina Davey, who was with us, and also to Alison Gibbs. Alison Gibbs, she's in the process of actually moving house right now, like selling a moving house. And for any of those that are in Australia, Usually when you move house, your internet absolutely sucks. So she's going through internet, whenever you go through moving home in Australia. Every time I've moved home in Australia, I've always had internet trouble. So she's going through that poor internet hell right now. So connect with Ali Gibbs as well. She should hopefully some good technology in a month or two, and we can hear more from Ali Gibbs. I want to say a big thank you. But I want to say a big thank you for all of us on the team here. Thank you for joining us. And make sure, if you're men out there, do what you can to support women and support yourselves. And if you're a woman out there, make sure you do what you can to support yourself, because it can be a bit of a jungle out there. But we all love you. On behalf of myself, Aaron, big thank you. Lara and Annette, love your work, everyone. Stay awesome and have the greatest weekend ever. See you all.